Well, that was a tough act to follow. Is everybody as excited about NYSERDA programs as we are about tax credits? So my name is Amanda Mazzoni. I'm the Energy Program Manager at the Central New York Regional Planning and Development Board. I was asked by NYSERDA to present on their behalf regarding the programs available for municipalities. We have a long history of being NYSERDA contractors for the Central New York region. So we are, very familiar with the NYSERDA programs available to municipalities. And I'm going to focus on the programs related to building decarbonization and electrification. But I do, in my slides, have other incentives available related to transportation and training and fellowship programs that are available as well that you can kind of browse through later. My understanding is these slides will be shared with everybody, which is great because I'm going to stay fairly high level given the time frame. But I do have live links to all of the programs that I'll mention, so you can go back later, look at the pages, get some more in detail information, and have direct contact to the NYSERDA staff on those programs. You can also feel free to reach out to me, and we can talk more in depth about opportunities for your community as well. But I just very briefly, how do I get this to work? Oh, there we go. Wanted to just, for anybody who's not familiar with our agency, we are a public agency founded in 1966. We have 5 member counties: Cayuga, Cortland, Madison, Onondaga, and Oswego. And we work with all of the municipalities within those counties on various development needs. We have our energy management program. All 4 of our staff are here today, and you'll be hearing from 3 of us in presentations. You already heard from Lindsay Spear. And we also have staff, though I have to just mention the other the other services we can provide municipalities related to comprehensive planning and community development, economic development, environmental management, so like stormwater, wastewater, drinking water issues. And we house the Syracuse Metropolitan Transportation Council, so we have a fair amount of transportation planning resources as well in our agency. So if you have any issues related to anything in there, I know it's fairly broad, but just give us a call and I can point you in the direction of the right staff person to work with your community on any of those issues. Our energy program team, you'll be hearing from Mike later as well, and Lindsay and Erica is here with a table outside with information about our Energy Smart CNY initiative, but I just wanted to kind of share that we're all here and this is what we look like, and you'll be hearing from each of us about our respective programs and how we can work with you moving forward. The main takeaway here, shifting to the NYSERDA programs, this page is really the main takeaway. So basically NYSERDA has a list on their website. Here's the link on the side here. It's just nyserda.ny.gov/all-programs. This is updated constantly. The programs, are always changing what's available, what the resources are. You can search by municipalities, which is, essentially what I did to put this slide deck together. But it's a really great resource to, if you have a project that you're trying to start putting together resources for your community. This is really the place you should start in terms of NYSERDA programs, to start your search anyway. This does include programs that are that do provide direct funding, so incentives or grants, but it also includes their programs that provide just simply like technical resources. So there's a lot of good information on this page, and really should be where you start looking in terms of NYSERDA programs, in addition to reaching out to our office, and we can again talk through the details a bit more with you all. I'm going to highlight today the building and renewable energy programs. I've put a big green dollar sign next to the ones that do provide a direct incentive, and the other ones are more educational training kind of resources. So this is just page 1 of 3. So there's a lot of these initiatives. Again, they're all live linked so that when you get the slides later, you can go into a little bit more detail. The first program here, the Building Cleaner Communities competition, is related to supporting net zero buildings. This is something that's available through the annual consolidated funding application cycle. So there tends to be funding, year after year for supporting transition to net zero buildings. The Clean and Resilient Building Codes, this is just basically NYSERDA's code team page that has a lot of no-cost, low-cost training and support services. This is also where if there are resources available to like the next stretch code, they will be on this site when the time comes. So again, this is just kind of like a resource page, but there's a lot of good information there, especially for code officers to visit for training that they may need. The Clean Energy Communities Program, Mike Bacuzzi will be speaking a bit more about in a little while, but this is a program that has been around since 2016. You heard a couple of the municipal officials earlier talking about getting funding through this program for their projects that they were highlighting. Currently, the program does not have any funding available as of really like last month. However, this has happened twice before where the program exhausts the funding and they are able to find new funding or create a new version of the program. So, we're currently in a little bit of a holding period with that program, but it is, we're hoping there will be some new injection of funds at some point in the future. And really that's a program to assist communities in completing clean energy projects and earning grant funds along the way. The clean energy siting resources, NYSERDA has a ton of trainings and resources on this page related to renewable energy, and specifically they have a solar guidebook and a battery energy storage guidebook that has information about permitting and template zoning codes and template RFPs. So there's a whole suite of information that they've put together that municipalities can pull from and make their own when you're going through those kinds of projects in your communities. They also do provide, upon request and availability, they can come out and be at your community to actually address town boards or zoning boards, as needed, that kind of thing as well. So they do have some capacity for that. The Commercial and Industrial Carbon Challenge is another one municipalities are eligible for. This is another one through the consolidated funding application that provides funding for energy saving, carbon reducing projects. There is a electrification component to this program as well. And it can be for a single building or a portfolio of buildings, so there's a couple of different pathways you can pursue in this program, but there is, again, funding that's related to showing that you are having a carbon reduction through a building project. The Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Financing Resources, really the PACE financing is through the Energy Improvement Corporation. But NYSERDA has resources on their page for guiding municipalities to implement commercial PACE financing. It is a financing mechanism that must be enabled by either your city or county in order for it to be available to all of the other municipalities. So if you're a town or a village, your county has to enable PACE in order for commercial entities to be able to benefit and take advantage of PACE. A lot of the cities and counties in our region have enabled pay, so that's great, but we do have a list if you're curious, if your community has this available to them. It is a financing mechanism to allow, to help pay for clean energy projects in larger commercial buildings. It's tied to the tax bill, not the tax bill, to the building, to the energy bill for the building. So if the property owner changes, the lease or the loan goes with the energy bill for the building versus the building owner. So it's just a different way or a new way to be able to finance those clean energy projects in commercial buildings. The energy storage program, this is similar to the clean energy page, but this basically is a page that includes the energy storage guidebook. Again, just a suite of resources related to making informed decisions about energy storage development in your community. And then the FlexTech program is something that does provide a cost share for different types of energy studies. They just recently, a week or two ago, expanded the program and what is available to finance, or not to finance, to have a cost share for in terms of what studies qualify. So typically in the past it's been really available for energy audits of your buildings to give you a better sense of where to spend your money to make it more efficient and to electrify. Now there's the option to be a little bit more targeted and have studies specifically on clean heating and cooling technologies for your building, renewable energies at your building. So it does provide for municipalities up to a 50% cost share. There is a stipulation based on your annual energy spend of the building. I forget exactly what those numbers are, but it's 50% or I think it's like 10% of your annual energy expenditure. But anyway, there's money available to help pay for some of the studies that are really necessary before you electrify your building or know where to start with those improvements. And then the last slide about building and renewable energy programs for municipalities through NYSERDA. The large-scale thermal program does have some funding available related to district thermal energy systems. In implementation, there used to be funding for the studies for those systems, but now that is through the FlexTech program now, so there's still funding for those studies. But this does provide assistance if you are considering a thermal energy loop, kind of like a shared heating and cooling system amongst multiple buildings. And I just got the times up, so I'm going to just fly through these last few. The just transition site reuse planning is a little bit less related to a specific building, but it's related to the transition to zero emission electricity in that there are no cost planning services to help communities that have fossil fuel power plant sites plan for the future of those sites, given that our transition to zero emission electricity means that they will ultimately at some point be closing. So this helps plan for what's going to happen at those sites and make a more just transition to the zero emission electricity economy. The New York Green Bank provides access to capital for typically it's larger scale projects that are kind of new emerging technology. And then the solar program, New York Sun, there's the incentives through New York Sun for if you are installing solar. And then there's also that solar guidebook with the resources related to the zoning code template and RFP template and that kind of thing. So there's additional slides for your reading pleasure at a later time related to transportation incentives and programs for municipalities and clean energy training and internship programs available for municipalities. You know, I'm happy to talk through them all in more detail with you all individually after the conference. My contact information is available. But yeah, thank you all for your time, and hopefully you're able to take advantage of some of these programs that are available.